everyone. Welcome back to Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Charles Skaggs, waiting for Ghostwood Forest to reopen. And
How many months are we going to say that?
And waiting. I know, it's getting kind of tiresome, isn't it?
Maybe... It would be open if people would wear a damn mask.
Right. So we're not here to preach, but we kind of need you.
We are here to preach. Wear a mask.
Okay. Apparently we are
Her
here.
uncle is coming for dinner.
Exactly.
Wear a mask.
Exactly. All right. So I guess I stand corrected. We are here to preach. Okay.
Yeah.
But because we want to reopen Ghostwood Forest, you guys, and we want to go outside and do all that. So, so everybody be responsible, be smart, be safe. Okay. All right. In the meantime, as we wait for everyone in America to kind of get their acts together, we're going to talk here at episode 79. This is something that we've been waiting for to talk about for quite a while. You know, we bring it up here, we bring it up there. And here at episode 79, we are finally going to talk Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive.
Yes, the 2001 neo-noir mystery film written and directed by, of course, David Lynch, because that's what we do here. And, you know, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Criterion, but mostly we're going to be saving that for our follow-up episode, episode 80, as we dig into those special features. But the Criterion Collection was released on October 27th, 2015.
We are so behind, Charles.
I know, right? This is one, you know, well, we spent the past year discussing the return, so.
Right.
So that took a little while because, you know, we're on a 2-week schedule. But anyway. So, so this is something we've been wanting to talk about. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of connections to Twin Peaks actors in this, and you know, this is a film that a
lot of David Lynch players here,
and you know, but a lot of new ones too. A lot of people that he hasn't worked with before this one, like Laura Elena Harring or. Justin Theroux, although he worked with Justin Theroux later on in Inland Empire.
Do you mean the Countess?
Yes.
Laura Harring?
Exactly. So now, obviously, this is a film that's going to take a little effort on our parts to try to discuss.
Yes, this is another David Lynch film, like Eraserhead, that isn't exactly linear, and David Lynch is not explaining it.
No.
He's just saying, you know, this is a love story in the city of dreams, and that's all he's given you.
No, so. Yeah, exactly. Although he did, you know, apparently he gave some clues in 10 clues. I wrote these down. That was in the original DVD release. There was a little card insert.
Right.
That said, David Lynch's 10 clues to unlocking this thriller. Now, the question, of course, is, can you actually trust what David Lynch is telling you?
No, I don't trust what David Lynch is telling me because David Lynch shows me what he wants me to see, and the rest of it is up to me, is how I feel about him as a director, and that's part of why I love him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, as a David Lynch fan, you know, I know personally that he's not going to explain everything.
No.
Because, hey, I've watched 3 seasons of Twin Peaks, and I know I'm not going to get all the answers that I want.
I still don't know what's going on. Yep.
You know, and I've watched other things like Blue Velvet or this film, Mulholland Drive, Wild at Heart. Take your pick. Inland Empire.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of films that, you know, especially of his, that he's not going to give you the full story. And because he may not even know the full story. He knows the kind of story he wants to tell.
Right.
That maybe came to him in a dream, and he's just trying to put it up on screen for everybody to share with.
Right. He wants to show you something.
Yes.
And whether or not what he wants to show you is in a linear fashion is neither here nor there.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously I'm here with my wonderful co-host Xan Sprouse, and we're going to try to break this down as best as we can. So bear with us as we go through this because One, I think it's going to be a lot of fun as we talk about this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Sheriff, we got a lot to talk about because
Sheriff, we got a lot to talk about.
There's a lot going on in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so we might as well, without any further ado, let's start breaking this down a little bit. So I should mention that, of course, this movie is like 2 hours, 26 minutes. And the first 2 hours are apparently one story, and then we get a completely different story for that final half hour.
Right.
So that's going to take some explaining, obviously.
Just when it starts to be porn, it does a 180 on you.
Exactly. It's like it lures you in with porn and then flips it right on.
Yep.
And you fell for it like the fascist you are. So, little bit of you like that line?
I like that one. That was good.
Thank you. So, a little bit of notes about awards that this film received. So, David Lynch apparently received the, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Prix de la mise en scène. Apologies.
En scène.
En scène? All right. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah.
I did not take French. I took German in high school, so sue me. But that's essentially the Best Director award at the 2001 Cannes Film Festival.
Yep.
And, of course, Lynch was nominated for Best Director at the 74th Academy Awards, but lost to Ron Howard for A Beautiful Mind. A film that is a decent film, in my opinion, but nowhere near the level of this film, Mulholland Drive.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against Ron Howard. I like him as a director, but right. I feel like David Lynch does a little bit more with the medium of film than most directors do.
Right.
And when you see somebody like that, you know, I would like to see more recognition for the creativity behind it. And I think it's hard for some people because it is so nonlinear.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing against a Beautiful Mind either.
No, not at all. I mean,
I am not going to try and sit here and tell you that I haven't been wishing I was Jennifer Connelly since I was 11 years old, because I have been. But that's, you know, it's not one of those where I'm like, what, really? That's what, really?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I have nothing against Ron Howard as a director. I think he's a very competent director. I just don't think he's obviously as imaginative as David Lynch or as creative as David Lynch.
I think he's a fantastic storyteller.
He's a traditional storyteller.
Right, and I think he does great jobs with
and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Dramatizations of true stories, like Apollo 13 or
right.
A Beautiful Mind or that boxing one.
Oh. You mean with I know who you're talking about.
With Russell Crowe again.
Yeah. Okay.
Russell Crowe and Renee Zellweger, and he's a boxer.
I can't remember.
I'll think of it, and I'll blurt it out later when it's inappropriate.
Yeah. I just know that obviously Ron Howard directed Apollo 13 and Solo, believe it or not. So yeah.
Which I love. Sorry, Star Wars fans that hated it, but I loved Solo.
Yeah, I think Solo's pretty underrated personally.
And one of my all-time favorite comedies, which is ridiculous, but I love it, is Night Shift.
Yeah. Oh, and did he also directed Splash, if I remember correctly?
He sure did direct Splash, which is probably my favorite role that John Candy ever did.
Yeah. So.
I mean, John Candy's great in Uncle Buck, but my favorite is probably Splash.
Yeah. So obviously nothing against Ron Howard. He's a perfectly acceptable director. You know, nothing against him. But obviously we're favored toward David Lynch in that regard.
Right. Yes,
All right. So I got some trivia on this one. And obviously we kind of talked about that a little bit before started recording tonight. But this movie, Mulholland Drive, originally was conceived as a TV series. And back in 1999, they did a 90-minute pilot produced for Touchstone Television and intended for the ABC television network.
Right, and it was also going to be intended for, it was a French co-production, so it was also going to be on French television.
Right.
And TV executives said, no.
Yeah. So apparently Lynch sold the idea to ABC Suits based solely on the story of Rita emerging from the car accident and her purse containing $125,000 in cash, along with the blue key.
Right.
And the premise was, Betty would try to help her figure out who she was.
Mm-hmm.
That was the elevator pitch, apparently.
And I'm sure that ABC, after having done Twin Peaks,
right,
they were probably asking, okay, David, are we going to find out who she is? I mean, please tell us we're going to find out who she is.
Right.
Spoiler alert, we don't. So I think that might have turned them off a little bit. That might have turned off ABC because they've done that before, and they had great success with Twin Peaks, but they'd done that before, and they'd gone down that road before, and I don't think they want to do it again.
Now, from what I found out from my research was that Lynch showed ABC a rough cut of the pilot. The guy that they picked to watch the pilot hated it, and then ABC immediately canceled it. And then Lynch goes around and, it talks it over with, I guess, a French investor or something. And they decided they basically Lynch rewrote the script, expanded it, and then they decided to turn it into a feature film at that point.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, on a Twin Peaks trivia note, supposedly Sherilyn Fenn, yes, that Audrey Horne Sherilyn Fenn, said in a 2014 interview that the original idea came during the filming of Twin Peaks as a spin-off film for her character Audrey Horne.
That's interesting.
Right. So
we've got yet another.
Right, which makes me wonder why. Maybe that's why Lynch did what he did to Audrey in The Return.
She the little girl who lives down the lane in this one?
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting. We got another car accident with Sherilyn Fenn. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Right?
Huh. I would have watched that.
I'm sure you would have watched that because I know you're a big Audrey Horne fan you are.
I'm a big Sherilyn Fenn fan.
And I'm a big Sherilyn Fenn fan as well.
Yeah.
So, I would have been all over that as well.
She's one of the greatest humans that has ever graced the earth. She's the sweetest woman.
Yep. So it's so if that's the case, somehow that evolved from a Audrey Horne spinoff into something completely different. So interesting.
And now
for something completely different.
Well, at the time that Mulholland Drive was being done as a TV show, Sherilyn Fenn was working on Rude Awakening for Showtime.
Oh, was that going on at that time?
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. See how all of this connects a little bit. So, so speaking of Twin Peaks cast, we might as well run them down because hey, we're a Twin Peaks podcast, right?
Yep.
So the actors that appear in this one, Naomi Watts, obviously first and foremost,
of course. Yep.
As
also in Inland Empire.
Exactly. Thank you. Does the dual role of Betty Elms or Diane Selwyn, take your pick, in this one. Now, of course, she played Jenny E. Jones. And then we had Robert Forster turns up as Detective McKnight. So Sheriff Frank Truman right there. And
no, it's not Sheriff Frank. No, it is Sheriff Frank. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought... when you said Frank, I saw Harry in my head. That's really weird. All right.
Probably because normally when you say Sheriff Harry S. Truman, that's probably why.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard to remember that. I was just dumb on my part.
Okay,
sorry.
Nice. That's all right. That's all right. We've been talking.
My brain just I have quarantine brain, which means drink every night brain.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. So, yeah, you're podcasting with assisted chemical
assisted
vibes.
Podcasting.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
That's what this is. This is assisted podcasting.
You're adult podcasting. How's that?
Oh, that makes it sound so much sexier.
Right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we also had
This bed is huge. Podcast. There's no reason for you to sleep on the couch.
Right. Well, obviously, we'll talk about that scene later.
We're going to talk about that a little bit. Yep.
Yeah. And because I'm sure a lot of people didn't see that coming the first time that they watched this film. Brent Briscoe as Detective Domgard. Of course, he turned. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Detective Mackley.
Right. Yeah. Sadly, we lost Brent Briscoe not too long ago, but yeah, Detective Dave Mackley on the return.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had Angelo Badalamenti as Luigi Castellani.
The espresso hating mobster.
Exactly, who tends to Voices displeasure with espresso by spitting it out into a napkin.
Spitting it out into a napkin, yes. And I remember seeing this movie for the first time. At least he used a napkin. Good for him.
Yeah.
I just remember watching this movie for the first time going, what? It's Angelo. Yeah. We get to see him. This is so great.
Exactly. So our favorite Twin Peaks composer turns up in the acting role here. So in addition to doing the music for this film. Scoring.
Exactly.
It. Yeah.
Nothing against Dean Hurley, but he's our favorite. We'll just admit.
Come on, it's we were Angelo fans before we were Dean Hurley fans, so
that's the thing. Dean knows that our heart is large enough for the both of them, but he knows where he stands.
Exactly. No, just know your place, Dean Hurley. That's all we're saying.
Dean knows.
Yeah. Okay.
He'll get there. He needs another 25 years. He'll get there.
Exactly. So, Rebecca Del Rio, who of course is one of our favorite Roadhouse singers in The Return, makes her appearance as herself. I'm sorry, Zane got a little glitchy there. So, she turns up.
I just said that she's one of your favorites.
Oh, yeah. I loved her performance of No Stars, and you loved her dress, the chevron dress.
Hell yeah, I did.
Yeah, so. But, yeah, I really enjoyed her performance of No Stars, and no surprise here, she does an incredible performance of Spanish version of Roy Orbison's In Crying. We'll talk about that.
Which you can sit there and listen to it and not start crying.
Yep.
Like Laura Harring and Naomi Watts. I think you might need to check your pulse.
Of course, is it live or is it Memorex, as we'll discuss?
Who cares? It's beautiful.
Exactly. I know. Michael J. Anderson turns up as
Mr. Roke.
As Rock. So let's rock, I guess.
I know. Let's rock.
Let's rock. So, of course, he played the Arm/Little Man from Another Place in the original Twin Peaks series. And, hey, Duncan Todd shows up in the form of Patrick Fischler.
He does. Poor Dan.
Yeah, he shows up as Dan, the guy who gets basically scared into a apparent coma by the...
Heart attack.
Yeah.
I think it's a heart attack, yeah.
By the bum behind Winkies, who obviously we're going to talk about as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we have lots of things to talk about. Other cast of note, of course, Laura Elena Harring, or just now Laura Harring, as Rita.
Countess!
Yes. As Rita/Camilla Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
One of them.
I keep calling her the Countess because...
Yeah, what is up with that?
She married the great-great-grandson of Otto von Bismarck.
Really?
Yeah, so...
that's an interesting trivia point.
His full title is Count Karl Eduard von Bismarck Schönhausen. So they were divorced.
You must have a really big business card.
It's like a 3x5 card.
Right, exactly. That'd be funny. It's like, here's my business card. It's like, isn't that an index card?
No, you got to put it in your briefcase. You can't just put it in your pocket.
Right.
They got divorced, but she kept the title of Countess.
Interesting.
So yeah, and she also not in Twin Peaks, but also in Inland Empire.
Yep.
So you've got so many people that were in something tangentially, something Lynchy, definitely Lynchy. Even Monty Montgomery.
Yeah.
Who played the cowboy? He produced Wild at Heart, Twin Peaks, and Hotel Room.
Right. I didn't know about Hotel Room.
Yeah, he did Hotel Room.
Interesting.
And Vincent Castellanos, who was Federico in Twin Peaks, he was Ed, the guy that Joe, the hapless hitman, shoots at the very beginning.
Right.
He's there, and
Justin Theroux.
Justin Theroux.
Yeah, turns up in Inland Empire as Devin Burke.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also he plays Adam Kesher. Yeah.
Yep. Scott Coffey is Trick in Twin Peaks. Also in Inland Empire.
Oh, was he Trick? I didn't realize.
He was Trick. He is also my favorite student in Ben Stein's class in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, okay.
The Holly Smoot Tariff Act.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone?
Is he the guy that just kind of like with his head on his like he's looking down and he's got like his hand on his head?
No, he's the one with his head cocked like.
Oh, okay.
He's the mouth breather. He's the mouth breather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
he's he's been around. So yeah, there's a lot of
a lot
and
of
I looked for her,
yeah,
but I didn't see her.
Right.
So I need to pay closer attention. But Phoebe Augustine is in Club Silencio somewhere.
You know who else is in Club Silencio?
Who else?
Sheryl Lee.
What? I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, she's there.
What? I missed that.
When they it's only obviously just a quick cameo, but yeah, when Betty and Rita walk into the theater and they start going down the aisle toward their seat.
I didn't even notice that.
She's off to the right.
See, you guys, this is why you own DVDs, so you can watch this kind of, look for this kind of stuff.
And this is why you listen to Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast, because we tell you stuff like this.
We tell you silly trivia like that.
Exactly.
You know, did you know, Charles?
Yeah.
That Angelo Badalamenti did the opening 92 Summer Olympics?
I did not know. So he did the opening.
Did you even hear me?
I think if I understood it correctly, the opening theme to the 1992 Summer Olympics.
Uh-huh.
All right, yes, I got it right. Yay!
You got it. Yes.
So take that.
So yeah, and for all of my Elvis Costello fan friends out there, he's done some projects with not Elvis Costello, Cranberries fans.
Yeah.
No relation to Elvis Costello's ex-wife, but the late Dolores O'Riordan. He did some projects.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm a big Cranberries fan, so that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yep, he sure did.
Interesting.
And with Tim Booth from James, he did an album with him too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Was it the Laid album? You know, the song that Laid's on?
No. It's called Booth and the Bad Angel.
Okay.
Yeah. So I highly recommend looking at his.
That's the only James song I know is Laid.
You probably know Sit Down.
Oh, yeah. Sit down. Mm-hmm. Sit down next to me. Yeah, I know that song.
Down. Yeah, you know that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And Gene Bates.
So I know two songs. Right.
Yeah, there you go. Gene Bates, one of the people that meets Betty on the plane, and one of the little tiny people at the end.
Right.
Is Mary's mother in Eraserhead.
Get out. I didn't know that.
That's her, yeah. She plays Mrs. X.
See, I learned something today, you guys.
She knows how to cook just like regular chickens. Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of Lynch players all over this.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's one of the great things. We talked about this on the podcast, that David Lynch is obviously extremely loyal to his actors.
Mm-hmm.
And probably, you know, imagine like he knows, you know, what they can do, and he knows the kind of roles that he probably wants, or, you know, that the type of actors that he wants for this type of role. So he's like, okay, I've got my stable of actors. Let me see if I can get so-and-so to play this role. Right.
He knows what he's looking for, and I think he gets what he needs out of who he works with. So
basically, if you're good and Lynch loves your work, and you like him and you get along, I would say, you know, you got at least the occasional work coming your way.
If you get the Lynch process,
yeah,
you know, I think that's probably a big deal to him, because he is so unorthodox with his storytelling.
Right. And some actors can't deal with it. They don't like not knowing what a script is about and stuff.
Yeah. Not to speak ill of the dead or anything like that, but I don't think he's, you know, I don't think, you know, Chad Everett is your usual David Lynch kind of guy. I don't like Chad Everett at all. So
well, you know, that's with somebody we should probably mention, because one of the things about this film is that he brings in a few kind of old Hollywood types.
Some classic Hollywood people. Yeah.
So we, including Chad Everett, who plays
mm-hmm.
Jimmy Katz in this, who is just a wee bit skeevy in this.
Chad Everett is skeevy. I always felt like Chad Everett probably is in real life the type of character he plays in Airplane 2.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, we should, you know, like, obviously that's where I primarily know him from, as Simon Kurtz in Airplane 2, the sequel.
And Simon's Turn to Jelly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like one of the greatest sound effects in the history of sound effects.
And it's one of the best lines in that. You know, I can't even do this.
Simon's Turn to Jelly.
Yeah.
But it's like, just his whole, like, you're going to be in charge of babies for Mr. and Mrs. Simon Kurtz, and that's an order. I'll bet he's really like that in real life.
Right.
Because I believe it's a Dick Cavett show where he talks about how he has animals, but his wife is his favorite animal he owns.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, look that up on YouTube where he's like, well, my wife, she's my favorite animal that I own. And Lily Tomlin was also on the show. She just looks at him and says, that you own? Oh, I have to leave. And then Lily Tomlin just gets up and walks away.
Interesting.
And then he makes a comment after she's gone that I think is a dig at Lily Tomlin's lesbianism.
Okay.
Where he's like, well, my wife really does enjoy being cared for by a man. And I don't think she'd be interested in that with a woman. Like, I think he's really kind of like, I think she likes being cared for by a man. And I think he's really digging at Lily Tomlin when he says that. Yeah,
she wasn't open back then, so this must have been like...
She wasn't necessarily, but I still think, but
not
I'm sure, open to the public and open in Hollywood are two different things.
Exactly. Like Hollywood people know.
You're going to tell me that people didn't think that Tyrone Power and were boyfriends? People who knew Cesar Romero and Tyrone Power, they knew what was going on.
Or Rock Hudson, for that matter. Yeah.
You're going to tell me that Doris Day didn't know what Rock Hudson was up to?
Right.
They were like besties. Of course she knew all that stuff. So,
anyway.
I felt like it was a little bit of a dig. But I feel like Chad Everett is probably that guy. He's probably Simon.
He's probably that guy. Exactly.
He's probably Simon. From
that's why he was so good at it, because he's primarily not. Because he is that guy. Ann Miller turns up as Coco.
Did you know that Ann Miller has a pair of tap shoes in the Smithsonian?
I believe it. Yeah, that makes sense.
She was famous for being a dancer, and so
she was in the films "Kiss Me, Kate," "On the Town,"
Easter Parade.
Yeah, there's a whole list there, but
a bunch of them. She's got a star on the Walk of Fame.
Exactly. So, but apparently this was like her last film.
It was exactly her last film.
Yeah. So
she didn't really do anything. She didn't do any film from like 1976 until this movie. I think she did the occasional TV spot, but this was her last.
Right.
This was her first film appearance since 1976 and her last film appearance before she passed away. So also in that same apartment
yes,
was Lee Grant.
Yeah, so Damien's mom turns up.
That's not Damien's mom.
That's Damien's Ann Thorne.
Is that Damien?
That's Damien's mom. That's Damien's mom. Or is it... Well, maybe, no, I take that, stand corrected.
I thought Damien's mom was Lee Remick.
Well, you're right. So, but Damien ends up getting sent with some relatives, right, in the sequel? So you're right, it's not his mom.
Oh, okay.
So, but Ann Thorne, right. I'm guessing...
Now I feel like, I have like...
So it's like an Ann or
Damien's
something.
Mom is Lee Remick.
You're absolutely right.
Damien's mom. You had me second guessing myself there for a second. I'm like, Damien's mom. No, it's okay.
I totally apologize. But so it's probably
no relation.
No relation. But Ann Thorne's probably like an aunt or something of Damien's that cares for him.
She's probably
hey, the parents are dead, so somebody's got to take this kid, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
in Omen 2. But she was also in the Heat of the Night, the 1967 film classic. So
she also was in Shampoo.
Yeah,
for which she won an Oscar for that. Mm-hmm. So, and let's not forget James Karen.
Yes.
Who I don't know if you're a big Poltergeist fan, Charles. But
I like Poltergeist. I'm not a big fan, but I like Poltergeist. Yes, the original.
I'm a big fan of Poltergeist. So the guy that Craig T. Nelson is screaming at, "You son of a bitch! You moved the cemetery, but you left the bodies, didn't you? You only moved
that guy." Stones.
That is James Karen.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's cool.
Who I just found out was good friends with Buster Keaton towards the end of Buster Keaton's life. He was a good friend of Buster Keaton's.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
now, an actress that has a pretty notable appearance in this, Melissa George. Now, a lot of people don't know her, or is not as familiar with her, but I became a fan of hers when she was on the TV series Alias. I
didn't watch that.
Yeah, and she's primarily in season 3, but she was really good on that. And then recently, if you're a Star Trek Discovery fan like I am, she played the modern, like the current version of Vina, who was one of those characters that appeared in the original Star Trek pilot, The Cage.
Oh, so like one of those Captain Pike original people.
Exactly. So essentially this is Pike, because Pike is in season 2 is captain of the USS Discovery. So he gets reacquainted with Vina. So and played this time by Melissa George. So
that's one of the cool things about that show.
Yeah,
is just that you're really rewarded as a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'm hoping that'll continue because now that Pike's getting his own TV show with Strange New Worlds, which is a title I heartily recommend because I was published in Star Trek Strange New Worlds back in the day.
That's right.
So,
you did. Yeah, you were. But
I'm
she plays.
fun of that title.
Yeah, she plays Camilla Rhodes before.
Yeah,
Harring plays Camilla Rhodes.
She's the original Camilla Rhodes, or is she?
That is the girl.
Yes, that is the girl. She's the girl, apparently.
She was the girl the first time around.
Yeah.
Yes. She's the girl that all those mobsters want and who Mr. Rock wants.
Exactly.
Initially.
Yeah. So, an actor that turns up that Xan, I think, is particularly fond of in this film, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus is one of my favorite parts of this movie.
As Gene,
I love Billy Ray Cyrus in the movie.
The pool guy.
I got the pool. She got the pool man. I wanted to buy that judge a Rolls Royce. I love Billy Ray Cyrus in this movie because it's at the time when this movie came out in 2001, we really hadn't heard from Billy Ray Cyrus for a while. And I don't even know where we were in the scheme of things when it comes to Hannah Montana.
Well, this is obviously after Achy Breaky Heart.
Oh, yeah. Achy Breaky Heart was like 93, 94, something like that.
Yeah.
And so everybody knew Billy Ray Cyrus.
I'm guessing this is before Hannah Montana, though.
See, I think it was close to being, because I think around this time, Hannah Montana wasn't around yet, but I think it was still a Lizzie McGuire type of a world.
Yeah.
So, there's usually only one.
Yeah, it says it's a 2006 sitcom, so that would have been 5 years after this movie.
That would have been, so we really hadn't heard too much about Billy Ray Cyrus, but the one thing we knew about Billy Ray Cyrus is that he has the most epic mullet in the history of mullets.
It's up there.
And who's got a better mullet than Billy Ray Cyrus?
MacGyver.
And don't say Simon Le Bon.
MacGyver.
It comes to like here. Billy Ray Cyrus's is all like, and it goes.
It depends what you're looking. Depends what you look for in a mullet. So,
I think you're selling your mullets too short. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm loyal. I'm loyal to the MacGyver mullet, but
whatever.
Richard Dean Anderson.
Richard Dean Anderson mullet. Okay, that's a good one. That one's pretty iconic as well. But
yep.
So I remember when I first saw this movie in the theater.
Yes.
And Adam, the
Adam Kesher.
Yes. The Adam Kesher, the director character,
Justin Theroux,
Justin Theroux's character comes home after having a bad day on the set, and he sees the pool van in his driveway.
Right.
But he doesn't see the pool guy anywhere, and then he goes and finds the pool guy in his bedroom, in his bed with his wife.
Yeah.
And he just says, "You just got to turn around and forget about this, man." I mean, he's just so like nonchalant. He's like, "Yeah, I'm doing your wife, but you just got to deal with it, man. It's how it works."
Yeah.
And
it's not so much as he's laid back. He's just like, "Okay, you know this is happening. I know this is happening. So let's just talk frankly."
Yeah, I'm not even going to pretend.
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
Okay? So it's
I'm not going to like hide under the, in a bedroom or something.
Yeah, exactly. So
be very upfront. Yeah.
And then Adam's wife is like, "Why are you even here? Get out!" Like, she's really horrible to him. It's a lot of gall because you get first of all, you get the impression that house was bought because he's a director.
Exactly. It's his house. Yeah.
It's that he's I don't know if
he's the one who paid for it. Yeah.
It's probably his work that paid for it. I don't know if the house was there before she was there or what, but you sort of get that sense, especially when you have two people who are kind of just shitty people.
Yes. Exactly.
that there's probably a real superficial nature to their relationship, right?
Right.
But I am not going to sit here and judge what other people do in their marriage, okay?
Yeah.
If you want to have an open marriage, if you're poly, I don't care. That's your business. But it takes a special kind of gall, in my opinion, to have an affair in your own house, in your own marital bed.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
That's not like, I don't know. Have you ever seen?
It's not a cool look, like
no.
If you're going to have an affair, take it elsewhere, is what you're saying.
Or as ironically, as Dana Carvey used to say, take it to Mulholland. Take it to Mulholland. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Silver Linings Playbook.
Yes.
Well, the Bradley Cooper character is in a mental hospital because he almost murdered someone. He almost beat somebody to death.
Right. And
I'm not saying he should have, as Chris Rock likes to say, I'm not saying he should have killed him. I'm just saying I understand. And he said what happened is Bradley Cooper comes home, finds his wife in his house with another man having sex in the shower. Not only are they in his house, his wedding song is playing. So he comes home, finds his wife in the shower with another guy, and in their house, in their married house.
Yes. And
the song that played at their wedding for their first dance is what is on the stereo.
Right.
And he loses his freaking mind and goes off on this guy.
Understand.
And the guy has the gall to look at him and say, I think you should leave.
Yeah.
To somebody in his own house.
Yeah.
And Bradley Cooper goes crazy on him. And I can't say I'm shocked. I mean, that's some gall. So she's got some gall. So he takes her jewelry. Adam takes her jewelry, goes to the garage, finds this paint that looks like Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
I don't know what room in the house.
It's a serious pink. Yes.
It's a serious pink. And just opens her jewelry box.
It's
and
the pink room.
It's the pink room. That's what's in the house. Yeah. There's he's got a string bass player in his house somewhere, just in this room. Pours the paint all over the jewelry, and she's screaming at him, trying to get him to stop. Yep. So Billy Ray Cyrus comes out of the bedroom, picks him up and punches him out and says, that ain't no way to treat your wife, man. I don't care what she's done. Hilarious. Yeah, hilarious. It's the best 3 minutes of this whole movie.
The deadpan expression on his face.
It's the funniest 3 minutes in this whole movie. I love the palate cleansing nature of the Billy Ray Cyrus appearance in this movie. Right. Love it.
Because there's obviously some very dark stuff in this movie, but
Billy Ray Cyrus.
But Lynch has a way of, like, maybe he realizes that, okay, this movie is getting even a little too dark for me. We need some comedy here.
We need Billy Ray Cyrus and his epic mullet.
Exactly. So
here's Billy Ray Cyrus was one of those where you're like, he's a perfect character because he has that reputation as being kind of a hillbilly.
Yeah. So it works for him here because
it really works for him. So
he's just the hillbilly pool guy.
He's the hillbilly pool guy, but he's also a lot bigger than Adam and a little bit more manly than Adam.
Right.
So
he's showing off the guns big time in this movie.
Sun's out, guns out. Yep. And he's also very I don't know what I want to say. I don't want to say moral, but he definitely has a code of conduct that, I know your wife's cheating on you, but you don't pour paint on her jewelry. Like he has this interesting set of morality.
Yeah.
And so he was very recognizable, and I hate to say this because it sounds more elitist than I want it to.
Okay.
But when it comes to David, I don't think there were a lot of David Lynch fans who were big Achy Breaky Heart fans.
I think that's a safe assumption.
I would bet that a lot of people who were watching David Lynch movies when the whole line dancing craze came about, they were very dismissive of it and sort of looked down on it. So
that's not exactly the same crowd, really.
Right, it's not exactly the same crowd. And he had that, nothing against it, but definitely it was the same way I think the Achy Breaky Heart crowd would have thought that the David Lynch crowd was weirdos.
Exactly. So,
in general, like stereotypically in general, because I'm not.
These two groups do not meet on the Venn diagram.
Not usually. No,
not usually.
not usually.
Although apparently they do here in this one scene.
In this one scene, yeah.
Yes.
Like, because I don't want to say
anyone. That's where the circles overlap. Yes.
I don't want to be a person that ever says that any one creative endeavor is inherently better than another one.
Right.
All I know is I got so damn sick of that song. Just because it was everywhere.
You and a lot of people. Don't worry.
I think I could listen to that song sooner than I could listen to Roll With It by Steve Winwood.
Okay.
Because that is the song that I always go to when I say, I can't believe I listened to this song 1,000 times in 1 week of a summer. Like, that was overplayed so much.
Interesting.
So there are some songs like that where I'm like, if I never hear that song again, it'll be too soon. And Achy Breaky Heart was one of them. Because even Achy Breaky Song by Weird Al.
Yeah.
I'll get it like 30 seconds into it. I'm like, I can't.
I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I'm out.
I heard this way too much.
Bad memories.
And that song is about how that song was overplayed. And even that, I'm like, I gotta back away.
Yeah.
So he was recognizable from being gigantic like 5 years before. So everybody sort of, and I think there were some people when I saw it in the theater that were like, some people started to giggle and they're like, wait, I know this is, but I can't figure out like what. Oh my, Billy Ray Cyrus! Like everybody figured it out because he was everywhere for a while.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I thought he was perfect.
Essentially, Billy Ray Cyrus is the last guy you would ever expect to turn up in a David Lynch film, and he's in a David Lynch film.
And in a David Lynch film, in the bed of one of your main characters.
Yeah.
I will forever have a soft spot in my heart for Billy Ray Cyrus for exactly that.
So
Billy Ray Cyrus is another country. I do not think country musicians get enough recognition for being good musicians. He's a very good guitar player. And so I'm not trying to slouch him. I just really hated that song.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure DJ Nick would agree with you on that one.
DJ Nick should at least understand what it was like in 1994.
Friend of the show, DJ Nick, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
friend of the show, DJ Nick. He should at least understand what it was like in 1994 to have to be, that was everywhere. That was pop radio, that was country radio, it was Muzak, it was your grandma liked it, everywhere. But I will forever have a soft spot for Billy Ray Cyrus because of this movie.
Okay. All right, so any other cast members of note that you want to bring up before we move on?
Well, I did want to go back for a second to Jean Bates, who Mary's mother.
Yeah.
She was in a Twilight Zone.
Oh. And you, of course, being a huge Twilight Zone fan.
Big Twilight Zone fan. And this is an episode that most people know. It's a Good Life.
Oh. Which
is the one with the little boy who can wish people into the cornfield.
Oh, with Bill Mumy. Yeah.
With Bill Mumy as a little boy, yeah.
Interesting.
In that episode, all the families all get together. His mother is played by Cloris Leachman, but there's a group of neighbors that all get together because, of course, Anthony's street is the only street left in the world, apparently, according to everybody else. Right. So because he's wished everybody away, so they get together for somebody's birthday party. And the guy whose birthday it is, he just starts yelling like, why are we putting up with this? Somebody pick up a table or chair and hit him and end it. And then Anthony wishes him into being a Jack-in-the-Box.
Yeah.
Jean Bates plays the wife of the Jack-in-the-Box. So, yeah, she's in Twilight Zone. I just wanted to shout out to the Twilight Zone.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. All right. Now, obviously, we talked about this, that it's going to be really hard to break this movie down. So here's our attempt. Okay, so I'm going to break this into like 5 topics, maybe 6, depending on how we do and how time goes. Topic number 1, let's talk about Betty. So Betty Elms and Rita in what we might as well call reality number 1.
Reality number 1. This
I was originally going to call this The Dream, but Xan corrected me wisely and said,
"Well, I just don't know.
How do you know what's the dream and what's the real world?" So
that's the thing. I mean, this is David Lynch. I don't know what's the dream and what isn't, because it does, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it does sort of feel like something happens and then we wake up into a more gritty reality.
Right.
And I think that, because especially right now in this time of just living through horribleness all the time, that I feel like we are conditioned to think that the grittier the reality, the more real it might be.
Right.
But what is with Irene and Irene's husband being those little people that come out of the box and who are running around Diane's apartment? Like, that to me makes this all bets are off. That's why I don't know what's a dream and what's real. So, like you said, reality 1 and reality 2, or what I was saying, pre-Silencio and post-Silencio.
Yeah. And that's another great way to put it, is that because it almost, with the Club Silencio scene, we're gonna obviously devote a segment to that, but it's almost like that's kind of like a transition between these two realities. Now, they do tend to kind of cross over these two realities, back and forth a little bit.
Right. We've got glimpses of the second reality in the first reality, and we've got some of the similar names. You've got the waitress who starts out as Diane, but then she's Betty later on.
Right. And then the real Diane shows up in the Betty reality as, the dead body that Betty and Rita come across in the apartment.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of crisscross a little bit here. So that's these two realms, these two realities kind of blur into each other at times. And that's obviously going to make this a little challenging to talk about. So bear with us as we try to break this down.
So if you're here, you've watched some David Lynch, you know how to keep up.
Exactly. This isn't your first rodeo, I'm sure.
No.
So should we just try to run through this as the film goes, or how do you want to do this?
I think the only linear way we can do this is chronological.
Okay.
So.
All right. So the movie opens after a little bit of a jitterbug sequence. Yeah.
Right, which doesn't really make sense until you see the Sylvia North story.
Right.
And even that, we don't get a whole lot of what's going on with that.
Well, I think it also that we don't get until we see Naomi Watts as Diane, when we find out that she won a jitterbug contest and came from Canada.
She won a jitterbug contest, came from Canada.
Yeah.
And, it starts out, you're thinking, okay, here is these nice, 60s, clean-cut kids.
Yes.
And then cut to Betty getting off of the plane as this clean-cut kid.
Yeah.
So maybe you're thinking that, and then you see the Sylvia North story, and you're wondering, does this have something to do with that? She's maybe going to audition to that, and then you find out about the jitterbug contest. You're like, oh, it's all just sort of tangentially, just sort of...
Right.
It's that, I just thought of this, and I think I've probably said it before, but I just thought of it again with this particular movie, that a David Lynch plot is like Sam Beckett's theory of time.
Yeah.
Here's the beginning of your life, here's the end of your life, and it's not just a big string. You crumple it up and all the pieces touch each other.
Right.
And that's what's going on. There's all these tangential things that are touching each other that don't necessarily relate to one another.
Yeah, and and that's something that's very common with Lynch, obviously, that these little tidbits that they're not directly related to one another, but they like you said, tangentially, they do kind of touch one another a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So we see this limo, this Cadillac, as we're told, going along Mulholland Drive above Los Angeles. And
then somebody is freaking tailgating.
Right.
And what have we learned from David Lynch movies about tailgating?
Don't tailgate.
You know how many car lengths you need?
Keep your distance.
To stop at a safe...
Right.
Safely stop.
Otherwise, Robert Loggia is going to lay into you about it. Yes.
You know how many car lengths you need to stop safely when you're going 55 miles an hour? 6 friggin' car lengths, okay? I want you to get a manual. I want you to read that mother effer.
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
I want you to tell me you're not going to tailgate.
We really need to discuss that at some point.
We so need to discuss that, yeah.
Yeah, we do. So this is where we see Laura Harring as... at this point, we just know her as a brunette. Getting in the limo. The driver stops, gets her out of the car at gunpoint, or tells her to get out of the car at gunpoint. But before she gets out of the car, these wacky teens that are apparently drag racing or something plow into the limo.
Yep.
So the drivers, we're told, are killed, but the woman, the brunette, gets out of the car. She's kind of obviously affected by the accident. Starts walking down the hill toward there's it's kind of like on the road is kind of like alongside this kind of cliff.
Mulholland Drive is in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, exactly. So she goes down the hill, yes, toward the city,
right,
in the distance, and then she ends up going to this apartment complex, and then she sneaks into one of the apartments that belongs to Ruth Elms.
Right, Betty's Aunt Ruth.
Betty's Aunt Ruth, that we find out later, who's leaving by this point, and because her niece Betty is going to be coming to stay. So she ends up hiding in the apartment, passes out.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile...
Because as we find out later, she has a head injury.
Yes, exactly. So essentially maybe a little concussion, who knows. And then, of course, we got some police detectives that kind of later come across the accident, and one of them, probably I think it's Robert Forster's McKnight, kind of thinks that he kind of like gets the feeling that, oh, hey, she must have walked off into the woods that way, down the hill.
See, in a David Lynch movie, who would walk off into the woods? What's that all about?
Exactly. That never happens. Characters going into
the woods. That ever happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's you have McKnight and Domgard, which are not exactly the most on it police officers.
Right, exactly. It's not exactly the Shield, is it? Let's put it that way.
No.
Or the Wire or something.
No.
Yeah. So Betty, we're introduced to Betty, who shows up, arrives from Los Angeles, from Deep River, Ontario. And she's exactly like your ideal actress from like 50s Hollywood.
Wide-eyed and just so happy to be in California.
She's got the tight pink sweater and looking very much like, just someone that stepped right out of that era.
She kind of reminds me of like what Janie E must have been like before life beat her down.
Yeah, exactly. Before she hooked up with Dougie.
Before she hooked up with that whoring gambler, Dougie Jones.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe that's another reality where she ends up becoming Jane E. Jones, and
one day
I just blew your mind, didn't I? Yeah.
There's one more waitress at Winky's named Janie E, and we're gonna eventually turn back into her too. So.
Or maybe the double R. Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh. See, that's the thing. I mean, David Lynch movies are nothing but diners and awesome furniture. Why can't I live in that reality?
I know, right? Well, part of me wants to, but then part of me thinks about all the horrible stuff that goes on there, so maybe I don't want to.
I just want to be somebody innocuous, like Lucy Moran,
Yeah. I just want to I just want to be one of the customers at the diner, a double R. That's.
Yeah, or Heidi. I could be Heidi.
Yeah, there you go. And you go, hee all the time.
Giggle. My dad's parents were German. I could do that.
There you go. That's a good life goal, I think. So she's talking. She's apparently. I think she must have spent the flight with this elderly couple.
This older couple, yeah.
Yeah, and
Irene and
Irene and Irene's husband, and she's talking about how she hopes to make it big as an actress, and her Aunt Ruth is allowing her to stay at her place, and so they kind of part. Betty goes off in a taxi cab or something, and then we see the old couple going off in their taxi, and they have the creepiest ass big grins on their face.
Something is up with them, and I just wonder if
their faces are unnaturally distorted into these large smiles. That kind of
very Black Hole Sun smile.
Yeah,
do you remember that video?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? That
little bit.
That Soundgarden video, where if you haven't seen the video, I would highly recommend YouTubing it because it's Soundgarden. It's very good, but
right.
They have these really exaggerated smiles that scared the crap out of me when I first saw that video. I was like, oh my God, turn the channel. So I wonder.
So what do you think they were smiling? I have a theory.
I think they're the key to all of this.
I think they are too.
because
I think they're the supernatural force that's behind all this.
They are the firemen and the Dido
Yeah,
of
the
this.
Senorita Dido, yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I think that, and again, I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, but this is David Lynch, it's not a linear thing.
No.
When we later see that blue box,
yeah,
when we first open the blue box and we just go right into it, and it goes
yeah,
now
sucks
it's
us all
dark.
in, right? Yeah,
Sucks us in, now it's dark, and then we come back out and we're in a different reality. But then we see it later, and they come out as these little tiny people that are just laughing hysterically.
Yeah, and they're like climb under the door, because they're so small,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
right.
just kind of like cackling maniacally, going hee hee.
I think they're the key to everything. I think that's what starts this.
Yeah. So maybe this was just poor Betty, or in this reality at least, runs afoul of these people, and they decide to like, oh hey, let's just mess with your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it's just if
it's a bad encounter. Let's just put it that way.
Just like Bob, all it takes is one camping trip when you're 14 and your life is ruined.
He just kept flicking matches at me.
Yeah, seriously. So, yeah, all it takes is one bug to go down your throat and one guy to ruin and you're screwed.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
all right. So she,
yeah, I think they're the key. I think they're the key.
Yeah. So Betty shows up at the apartment building, her Aunt Ruth's house, apartment. She meets Coco Lenoir, played by Ann Miller, who's like.
And I love Ann Miller.
She's a great, really friendly landlady type.
She's really friendly. She's very caring, and she says if they weren't any good, they wouldn't be living here because I'm a good judge of people.
Right.
And this is, I don't mean this in any offensive sort of a way, but she is very classic old Hollywood.
Right.
And so you get the feeling that Coco is, who she is in real life.
Yeah.
That she's classic Hollywood, that she was in the movies and now she owns this property and takes care of the people here.
The vibe, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And the reason I say that is because, and this is something that I have seen in old Hollywood people.
Mm-hmm.
There's just way too much makeup because Hollywood is so dysfunctional, especially for women.
Right.
In the sense that you can't look old and you can't look fat and you can't look short and you can't look anything.
Et cetera.
Yeah. And you have to look like whoever it is at the time, and whoever it is at the time can change. So the fact that Coco has that jet black dyed hair and way too much makeup just reminds me of
just obviously not looking like her natural self would.
Right. Just reminds me of classic Hollywood. These are women who just were used to getting dolled up all the time.
Right.
And they're wearing too much makeup to look younger, and they're dyeing their hair to look younger.
Too much hairspray.
Too much everything. And I'm thinking of somebody like and again, I don't mean this to be an insult. I think it's the systematic Hollywood machine that makes people feel like they need to do this. And they are no less beautiful because they are amazing women, but I'm thinking of somebody like a Debbie Reynolds or a Lee Merriweather or, and I hate to say it, but the last time I saw her, a Gates McFadden. Way too much makeup.
That's a shame.
But I think that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. You have Hollywood, everybody's got an expiration date until you are like Betty White.
Yeah.
And you're like this quirky thing.
Yeah.
But, especially women have a real expiration date in Hollywood. And I feel like the way she looked really told a lot of a story about her past that David Lynch didn't necessarily give us.
Yeah.
But I think she had been Betty at one point. She had come to Hollywood.
Well,
seen some stuff, and
Well, that's one of the things. Now that you're bringing it up, that's something that I kind of noticed. At least the vibe that I got. What I think what Lynch was going for, with Betty being the like aspiring actress, the new like wannabe new Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, what you had, and Coco kind of looks out for Betty.
She really does.
So it's like old Hollywood that has been through some things. They've seen some things.
They've already been places. And so Coco was kind of like, it's only Hollywood looking out for new Hollywood a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the kind of vibe I got from that.
I think so too, yeah.
So Coco takes Betty to her aunt's apartment. Betty goes inside, finds, oh, hey, there's like a naked brunette in the shower.
Which I think is interesting because...
And it naturally assumes like, oh, are you like a friend of my aunt's or something?
That's weird to me.
Right.
I mean,
how do you make that leap?
Right. I feel like somebody would have told me that. Like, I feel like my aunt would have said, oh, by the way, my friend Rita's going to be there too. Like, I would have been like...
Pretty sure her man would have mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah. But I think because... First of all, the Rita character was naked.
Yeah.
So obviously very vulnerable and not a threat at the time.
Right.
And
maybe Betty being naive too, a little bit.
Betty's naive, but also Rita being injured and beautiful.
Right.
She seems a little less threatening.
Yeah.
So and again, Betty probably thinks, oh, Coco knows everything that's going on in here. This is probably on the level. There's probably a lot of things going on with that, but
yeah.
If I saw that, I'd be like, "Oh, the hell!"
Yeah,
that would have freaked. It would have freaked me out if that happened.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I might have a different reaction, but hey, finding naked Laura Harring in the shower, but
I think you finding naked Laura Harring in the shower is going to be a little less terrifying than me finding naked Laura Harring in the shower.
Probably.
Because I think I'd come to it with from a much more practical standpoint.
Yeah. Now, it might be terrifying if, like my wife Lori was there and naked Laura Harring was in the shower. But just saying.
You'd be like, yeah, honey, we should call the cops.
Yeah, this isn't right, is it? Yeah. Exactly.
You'd be like Seth Rogen.
We should do something about this.
Yeah, you'd be like Seth Rogen in 40-Year-Old Virgin,
right?
When they're in the bathroom with Elizabeth Banks, is like, yeah, we should go from here. We should go far away from here. We should get out of here. And he's like getting undressed as he's saying it,
right.
We should go. We should get out of here.
So they talk a little bit. Laura Harring, comes out, and after seeing a Gilda movie poster, starring, of course, Rita Hayworth.
That was
a 1946 film, which was hanging up in the bathroom. She calls herself Rita. She introduces herself as Rita, but then later admits, well, I don't remember who I really am.
I don't know my name. I have.
Yeah. So
welcome back to the 70s. I have amnesia.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because amnesia was not a plot point that we'd seen for a while.
No, but it's obviously something that comes up a lot in is a soap opera trope.
It's a soap opera trope. I feel like it was like a Three's Company type of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in the 70s it was nothing but amnesia and quicksand.
Quicksand's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
It's like,
if you've watched any episode of Charlie's Angels from the 70s, you know that
Charlie's Angels, Scooby-Doo, anything.
Yes,
quicksand was everywhere, and I still don't even know where quicksand is.
I was thinking of amnesia as well, but yeah, exactly.
Amnesia for sure was a big one.
Yeah. So Betty is trying to help Rita. It's like, okay, we need to figure this shit out. And so they try to look in her purse. Like, okay, maybe you've got some identification in there or something. We can figure this out.
Nope, I have $125,000.
Exactly.
Cash.
Oh, and a bizarre blue key.
And a blue key that doesn't really look like a key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, apparently this is important to something. So what do? We decide let's just put it in a hat box and store it in the closet.
We're gonna hide it in the closet because
we don't know who's might be coming after this.
Yeah. I'm sorry, if you wake up and you got $125,000 in cash and you don't know who you are, you can probably expect that somebody bad is looking for you.
Yeah.
So,
but meanwhile, they've one of Coco's tenants, Louise Bonner, played by Lee Grant, shows up. Tries to warn Betty that, hey,
there's trouble in there.
Someone's in trouble. which is never a good sign in a David Lynch film.
No, when a woman dressed up like Stevie Nicks with like a black veil over her head comes to your apartment and tells you that there's trouble, something's wrong.
Yeah. This is like a mega goth Stevie Nicks. If that's
seriously,
if that's possible.
Maybe it's like Stevie Nicks and the psychic grandmother from Phantasm are all wrapped up into one character here.
Yeah, it's like if Stevie Nicks went to Hot Topic, but basically.
Yeah, basically.
Burn down Hot Topic. Well, that's a whole different thing. Sorry.
That's the whole, yeah.
So Coco basically apologizes, say, look, Louise is clairvoyant, but her warnings are often correct.
Yeah, so be careful. I don't know what's going on, but I am going to trust you to take care of it.
Exactly. So this is apparently the big warning sign. Something's up here. Now, Betty's Aunt Ruth arranged for an audition for Betty.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rita runs lines with Betty, and which they think is kind of funny because of the bad dialogue.
It's not a good. Naomi Watts makes it. Naomi Watts does such a good performance. She actually makes it a little bit better than I think it really is.
Well, so basically, Betty shows up at this audition, and then we talked about Chad Everett, so his character's there, and Betty's supposed to act against him in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And
Chad Everett is really kind of.
Chad Everett is total Chad Everett in this scene.
He is so perfect for this because I really do believe Chad Everett is probably the kind of guy that would have sex with his best friend's daughter.
Right. And, Chad Everett in the scene is rocking the Donald Trump orange skin, if you notice.
He's like way too tan, and he's like...
fake tan.
He's way too touchy-feely with her before they even get touchy-feely.
Yeah, exactly.
And, he's just kind of... So, because she does a really, really good job, because the scene is basically... what are you doing here? My parents are upstairs, and why are you still here? And we should never have done this. You're my dad's best friend. This is terrible. I hate you. I hate us both. And just I'm gonna
kill you. And
I love that where it starts to get really passionate.
Where erotic. It gets very erotic. Yeah.
It's very erotic where she, it's the whole sort of like where she's like, I hate you. I hate us both. Yeah. And she's breathing really heavily, and
it's a phenomenal acting performance.
It's fantastic. And then it's like, she's like, you need to get out, or what?
Right.
Or I'll kill you. It's just so good.
Right. And you're just memorizing. And obviously, everybody else in the room thinks so as well.
Yeah, everybody else
they're blown away by this.
They're blown away with, and/or with an erection.
Right.
Because it's a really erotically done scene. But
they're all grabbing their scripts going like, I'll just kind of, let me...
I'm just going to put my script in front of my...
I'm just going to leave it in my lap here for a while. Yeah. Anyway.
Where's my notebook as I walk to class? So, yeah.
Memories. So... But apparently Betty does so well that one of the agents there decides to take her to go see Adam Kesher,
who is casting for the Sylvia North story.
Exactly. So they go over there, and unbeknownst to Betty, the part has been earmarked for Camilla Rhodes.
Earmarked by Mr. Rock and all the other espresso-hating mobsters. There's something really
we'll talk about them a little bit separately. But but essentially
there's some sort of like Johnny Fontaine deal that happened with Camilla Rhodes at some point.
Exactly. Now, interestingly, Betty and Adam kind of make eye contact for a little bit as she walks in, and Adam's Adam's kind of looking at her like, well, that should be the girl.
But I can't cast the girl
because otherwise, the cowboy will destroy me.
Because the Cowboys told me what to do, and somebody has frozen my assets, and I can't even stay in a crappy hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't go back to my house because the pool guy's there
There's a pool guy's there, and frankly, there's just pink paint everywhere.
Exactly. It's a mess, and I don't want to clean it up.
I don't want to clean that up.
Exactly. It's damned if I clean it up. But Betty kind of panics a little bit. She's like, something, after that look, she panics a little bit, and she's like, well, I need to go back because... hey, I need to keep this date with Rita that we were going to go check out Diane Selwyn's place first.
Right. I promised a friend I'd help her. I have to go. I'm sorry. I have to go.
Yeah. So she ends up back, and they go. Betty and Rita go to the apartment number 12.
What's weird about that, though, is it's almost like Betty can sometimes smell a bad scene, but not enough.
No.
You know, she should be able to. I feel like she should have been able to, you know, smell her way out of Diane Selwyn's apartment. That's for damn sure.
Well, yeah, exactly, because, you know, hey, there's a corpse in there, and I'm sure it didn't smell very good. You think the smell would have been like noticeable before they went inside? And
even just the whole when they get there and there's, you know, the two guys casing the joint and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think she's just caught up in the mystery of Rita. I mean, Rita is very mysterious, very, you know, very sweet and very beautiful, but very mysterious, and there is an air of danger around her that I think intrigues Betty.
I think it's kind of like what happens with Kyle MacLachlan's character, Jeffrey Beaumont, in Blue Velvet.
Exactly what happens to Jeffrey Beaumont. This dangerous, but this woman is mysterious. She needs my help.
Yeah,
she is beautiful.
And I gotta figure this out.
I gotta figure out what the hell is going on here. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. That is exactly the same kind of a thing.
Yeah. So, so they end up, and apparently a woman answers, but it's not Diane Selwyn. It's a neighbor who tells a woman, "Well, hey, I switched apartments with Diane. She's in number 17, and tell her that she still has some of my stuff,
my plates, maybe."
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, I want my records back, okay?
Yeah.
So they go to number 17, knock on the door, nobody answers. Surprise, because hey, there's a dead woman inside. So Betty breaks in. So there's like a whole breaking and entering thing going on.
Yeah, she climbs in through the
window, and then it's all dark, of course, and disturbing, and because hey, it's David Lynch, right? So they go in there and they find Diane Selwyn's body laying face down on the bed.
Yeah, it's not a good scene.
Yeah, and this and apparently it's been a while because her corpse is pretty emaciated.
It's kind of blue, and it's kind of starting to it's gross.
Caving a little bit. It's pretty nasty. Yeah. So apparently some time has passed, and naturally they kind of freak out a little bit, go back to their place, to the Betty's apartment, and Rita starts like going into the bathroom and trying to cut her hair. And let's see. So, but Betty tells her, no, don't cut your hair. Just wear this blonde wig for some reason.
Yeah.
No, what?
Because she's worried that whoever is looking for her is who killed Diane Selwyn.
Okay. So it's more like, you know, the guys that might be after that money.
Right.
You know, to disguise you're going to wear this blonde wig. Got it.
Right, because those guys were at Diane Selwyn's apartment complex, and then they find Diane Selwyn dead. So I think she's afraid, and I think she's starting to remember.
Those guys killed her. Yeah.
Okay. If she's starting to remember that bad things were going on, that you know you don't usually wake up with $125,000 in cash after a night of being on the level.
Yeah.
So I think she's scared, and she just wants to put on a disguise and hide herself as much as she can. So
at this point, this is where it kind of turns into a letter from Penthouse Forum.
This kind of thing has never happened to me before.
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
But I was in bed when my roommate came in.
She was all
after sleeping on the couch.
She's all complete, like she takes off all her clothes and climbs into bed with me.
She comes in with a towel, and I tell her she shouldn't sleep on the couch anymore. So then she takes the towel off, and we totally do it.
Exactly. So Rita gets into bed. They make love, and Betty tells Rita she's in love with her. Okay. So at that point, go ahead.
It's easy to fall in love with a mystery, I think.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I mean, you know, she's this very, like you said, mysterious, enigmatic, and let's face it, rather attractive woman.
She's very beautiful, and she.
I mean, I think she was I think Laura Harring was a former Miss USA or something, right?
Something like that, yeah. And Laura Harring's character, this version of Laura Harring's character, is very honest and is not using her at all. She's very grateful that she's helping her. She's grateful to have a friend. They're very sweet with each other, and so I think
there's
it's easy.
No apparent ulterior motive going on.
No, and I think it's very easy to fall in love with a mystery like that.
Yeah. So at 2:00 that night, and here's where we kind of do our little transition.
Buckle your seatbelts for the 180 digression.
Exactly. We're going for
diversion,
a
not
ride.
digression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Rita wakes up speaking in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's like 2:00 in the friggin' morning, she's like, "Hey, we need to go to this club.
You need to come someplace with me. It's 2 a.m. You need to come someplace with me."
And the club is Club Silencio. Silencio, which of course is Espanol for silence.
Mm-hmm.
So Rita's in her blonde wig. Looks a little bit more like Betty at this point.
Looks a little bit more like Betty, but it's funny now that you mention it. That dress kind of reminds me of Isabella Rossellini's dress, one of her cocktail.
Yeah.
Her lounge dresses.
Yeah, it's Dorothy. Yeah.
It's not blue, but it's the sort of black one with the high neck and the open shoulder.
Exactly. So they go to this club, and
real.
Yes, the glitchiness is really bad right now. So there you go. Are you coming back? All right, good. Okay, so they go to this club, and
I lost. It seemed like I lost you. I don't know what happened, but it is windy. And it's supposed to rain all this week, so who knows?
Yeah, exactly. And we're getting close. But after walking down the aisle and walking right past Laura Palmer, like I was talking about, which is awesome. They sit down, and all of a sudden there's this performance going on stage where this MC comes out talking in different languages about everything being an illusion. Which is essentially Lynch talking to the audience right at this point.
Mm-hmm. Don't get attached to anything.
Exactly. It's like it's basically like the Beatles saying nothing is real in Strawberry Fields Forever. So, Rebecca Del Rio comes out and lip syncs a Spanish version of Roy Orbison's "Crying."
Which is one of the greatest things you've ever heard in your life, ever.
Which, is something that you didn't know you wanted until you heard it.
And then once you heard it, you didn't just want it, you needed it. You needed it in your life to be joyful.
Pretty much, because it's so powerful. And Rebecca Del Rio, as we talked about in this, has a 3-octave
range.
Right.
Yeah.
So she kills it, literally.
It's one of the greatest covers in the history of cover songs.
Pretty much, and it's fantastic. I never knew I wanted that, but I did.
And it's not like Roy Orbison is some slouch when it comes to vocals either.
No,
I mean, that song is a tough one to sing.
Yeah,
and she just kills it.
She nails it. So she's obviously in that ballpark, but then she as she's singing, she collapses, and then but the audio is still playing, basically revealing. Oh, hey, it's a recording.
It's an illusion.
It's an illusion. You can't trust anything.
No, you can't trust anything.
And Betty and Rita are in the audience, watching this, and they start understandably crying because it's a very powerful performance.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a real reaction to them hearing that song.
Yeah. So Betty reaches into her purse. Finds a blue box.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a blue key now and a blue box.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, we got to get these two crazy objects together, right?
I think that would be extraordinarily bad.
Define bad.
I'm fuzzy on the old good bad thing. What do you mean bad?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That sounds like a text message exchange we had.
I feel like no, but yeah, it's they have the. Did they find the box in Diane Selwyn's apartment?
No, well, later, when everything they disappear.
I can't remember.
No,
they
don't
initially, or if okay.
They don't even find the box.
Yeah, it just shows up in the purse.
Because Aunt, the aunt shows up, and
that's the thing. Aunt Ruth.
She hears a thud because when the box drops. Yeah. But then when she walks in, she doesn't look like she sees the box.
There's nobody there. It's like Aunt Ruth has never been. It's like Aunt Ruth never left.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
But yeah. So essentially, this is they go back to Betty's apartment, take out the key of the hat box. Betty suddenly disappears at this point.
From this point on, it may all be different.
Exactly. Yeah, we've talked about this with the return here, the episode part 18. Yeah, I know when Cooper and Diane are about to cross that threshold.
Yep.
So very similar theme there. Exactly. Good observation there. The box, they put the key in, of course. The box seems to swallow the bedroom, drops to the floor. We talked about that.
Now it's dark.
And then in Diane Selwyn's apartment, we cut to that, and the cowboy shows up telling her it's time to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
So presumably, now, it's hard telling, but presumably this was a dream, Diane Selwyn's dream.
Well, that's...
Because of him telling her to wake up. But the question is, well, maybe it's a dream within a dream.
See, that's the thing. Because did we switch realities and she just happens to be asleep in this new reality when we get there?
Right.
Was she having the linear dream of Rita and or was it from this point on it could all be different? Is that what happened and now it's different and this is just what we're seeing?
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing. I don't know, and I don't because I feel like her waking up into reality is too facile for David Lynch.
Yeah.
Like I think there's more.
It's too straightforward.
Too straightforward, too linear. I think there's more going on here.
Too easy.
Yeah. There's more going on than just pre-Silencio was a dream and post-Silencio is real.
Yeah.
Even though there are so many parallels, it's almost like, because what we find out is Rita is now Camilla.
Yeah.
And so she is the girl. And that audition went badly, not well, and all that kind of. So it's almost like, it's a good version of what her life could have been and a not so easy version of the way her life could have been. So it could be that. But again, like I said, you've got Irene showing up tiny, and now all bets are off. So I have no idea.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to put everything on a big spinning wheel and okay, this is the answer for this as you spin the wheel, and whatever comes up because I don't think there is a clear-cut answer here. It's almost kind of like this really complex tapestry that kind of folds in on itself like a pretzel, and it's nothing's clear cut here, obviously. So what happens at this point? Now that we've shifted, we're basically shifting from one reality to another reality, because we Diane Selwyn wakes up, presumably. Now,
right.
Diane Selwyn is now played by Naomi Watts. So Betty is now Diane.
Right.
And so this is where it gets a little tricky, kids.
Yep.
So in this reality, Diane. See, it's easy to confuse. Diane is a young Canadian woman who won a jitterbug contest, came to Hollywood looking for that fame and fortune, and then she hears the sound of someone pounding on her door.
Mm-hmm.
So now Diane doesn't look nearly as clean cut as Betty. She's looking a little seedy, like she had a really bad night in a bar at 3 a.m.
Or a meth habit.
Or something's going on there. And looking really rough at this point, basically. She shuffles to the door. It's that same neighbor that Betty and Rita met.
Mm-hmm.
Still looking like it wants the rest of her stuff from Diane's apartment.
It's been a long enough, Diane. Where are my plates?
Exactly. So she gathers up. Neighbor gathers up her things, like it's there on the floor in the box, and then leaves. But she also mentions, "Hey, those 2 detectives came by looking for
again."
You.
Yeah.
So again, this is where the movie kind of crisscrosses realities, because those cops that presumably we thought were in a dream are also in this reality.
Right. So like I said, it's like a Wizard of Oz kind of a thing where it's the same people, just in different roles.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like you were there, and you were there.
And you were there, yeah.
So at that moment, Diane notices the door key colored blue on her coffee table.
Blue keys again.
Blue keys. No, different blue key, because the other one was kind of like stick-like. The one that went into the box. But this one is just a regular kind of like standard door key.
Right.
And it's on her coffee table. She then sees that Camilla Rhodes, who is now played by Laura Harring, not Melissa George, is in the kitchen, overjoyed. And so she's like overjoyed to see her, and then realizes, oh, it's a hallucination. And then from that point, we kind of we start to get the story that apparently Diane and Camilla met on the set.
And again, very similar story.
Yes. Yeah. So we find out that apparently Diane and Camilla met on the set of a film. They both auditioned for the lead role in the Sylvia North story, but the role went to Camilla, and they end up becoming lovers. And in this reality, Camilla managed to like get some small roles for Diane, but then she got kind of bored with their relationship and broke it off.
Right. And the director didn't like her, and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So Diane obviously didn't take this well, and it didn't make any matters any easier because Camilla's has this open flirtation with Adam, the director, on the set right in front of her.
Yeah.
There's a scene where sitting in the car and Adam's trying to show the lead actor how to kiss Camilla. She does, her head just kind of falls into, your shoulders or whatever. It's
here.
And you can
but
tell
Diane can stay and has to watch this and feel jealous and enraged about it. So.
Exactly. So that obviously bothered her, understandably. And then she gets Camilla invites Diane to a dinner party at Adam's house on Mulholland Drive.
And see, all of this is just so...
It's pretty effed up, really.
Yeah, it's cruel.
You can understand why Diane would be upset, but...
Yeah, it's like, we used to be lovers, and I'm more successful than you, so please come to my boyfriend's house for a party. It means a lot to me that you see me doing better than you. I mean, I feel like it's kind of cruel.
Yeah, and then once she's there, after being led up this secret pathway to the house, Camilla kisses another woman who's played by Melissa George, the one that played the original Camilla.
Yeah.
And then she announces her engagement to Adam in front of Adam's mother, who is Coco.
Yeah, and Coco still is very caring. She's, when they're doing that weird thing where they can't even get out the fact that they're getting married, they're just giggling.
Yeah.
And Coco's holding Diane's hand. It's like Coco knows that my son's kind of a shit.
Yeah, basically. But essentially Camilla and Adam have zero F's as far as Diane is concerned at this point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're just. I think they're just being nasty. Or
they're just kind of amused by the whole thing, by Diane's suffering about this.
Yeah. Yep.
So Diane, who's understandably pissed at this point, goes to Winky's and hires a hitman named Joe.
Meets up with Joe.
Yeah. So Joe, that we had seen earlier in the film, we haven't talked about Joe, but was really bad at being a hitman.
Yeah, his gun just goes off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's basically this comedy of errors that we see. But apparently, she hired him to kill Camilla.
Yes, and this actor has a history of being like a bad henchman.
Yeah,
because he's in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah,
He's one of the rug pissers
got it.
in The Big Lebowski. He's the hey, isn't this guy supposed to be a millionaire? That's that actor.
Yeah. So while she's there in the booth at Winky's, and this is the same booth that we had seen Dan and the other guy, I forget his name, Herb, earlier in the movie.
Dan and Herb talking about the dream. And see, that's another thing, like, because I think Dan starts this on the dream part of it, so...
Yeah, this is where...
Where did this dream even start?
Things get really circular at this point, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and to make matters worse, she's served by a waitress named Betty.
Right, it's the same actress playing the waitress, but instead of having the name Diane, she has the name Betty.
Exactly. So they basically swapped identities at this point.
Right.
Yeah. And let's see. And Joe tells Diane that once he completes the job, he will leave a blue key in her apartment. Mm-hmm. And this is apparently the same key that she finds on her coffee table.
Right.
So apparently the job was done. Camilla was killed.
Right. Or so we think.
So, Diane, starts to become racked with guilt over this. She starts kind of like imagining Camilla. There's a very unexpected masturbation scene that takes place. And
it's because she loves her, but she hates her for being as cruel as she is. She hates that she's so cruel, but she can't help but love her.
Yeah, so it's like she's trying desperately to be with her, even though she's not really being with her at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So she's imagining herself,
and she's got that sort
fantasizing.
Yeah. She's got that sort of, if I can't love you, no one can kind of a thing going on.
Exactly. So, meanwhile, she starts being the guilt, I think, kind of overpowers her. She knows that the police are kind of closing in. Mm-hmm. So, she ends up going and committing suicide, shooting herself in the head, and then collapsing dead on the bed, face down, just like the corpse that Betty and Rita found. In reality number 1.
And she starts going kind of crazy, and that's when she sees the little tiny people, the little tiny Irene. Yeah.
Everybody got that?
Everybody getting this so far?
Just checking. Yeah, so if you're lost, that's understandable, but...
Welcome
to the club. Yeah, welcome to the club, right? Welcome to the party, pal.
Come out to the coast. We'll watch Mulholland Drive. We'll have a few laughs.
Nice. Exactly. So that's 3 topics right there that we went through. Mm-hmm. And we still have even more to talk about. So the question is, do we want to cut it here and follow this up in a part 2? Or do we want to keep going?
Well, the movie's almost over, so let's finish the movie and then we'll talk.
Okay, well, all right. We'll try and hurry this up.
We'll talk special features next time.
All right. So probably the next thing we should talk about at this point is Adam and the Cowboy.
Yeah, Adam and the Cowboy.
Cowboy. So we obviously know what Adam's kind of up to, and the way we're kind of introduced to him is he has this meeting downtown, back in reality number 1, with his agent and a couple of producers, and then the Castellani brothers, played by Angelo Badalamenti and Dan Hedaya.
Right.
And the brothers kind of show Kesher the headshot of the actress named Camilla Rhodes, who's played by Melissa George. This is the girl.
Yeah.
And they basically say, this is who you're going to cast for your film. And was like, no, I don't think so. He's like,
F you. And then they...
Yeah.
freeze his assets and, just basically make his life very, very difficult.
Well, this is after he gets pissed and goes out and smashes up their limo. before driving off in his
Right.
Porsche. Yeah.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
his
So
BMW or whatever.
Like I said, there's some sort of Johnny Fontaine deal that's happened.
Yeah. And that's when he goes home and finds Lorraine with Gene the pool guy.
Gene the pool guy. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that. And then like some goons sent by the Castiglianes show up and beat up his wife and Gene. Apparently.
I love her jumping on the guy. Get out of here! Get out! Like,
yeah, and
really,
he just kind of like picks her up because he's so huge and she's so little.
This guy is like as tall as he is wide,
right? So
and he is not short.
So he's just kind of like like it's like he's taking one of his kids off of his shoulders, going, "Get off of me!" And then punches.
Seriously.
Or no, he punches her. Then he throws her off. That's right. He punches her. He does this kind of like backwards punch in the face. And then just like matter-of-factly just throws her to the wall and the floor.
Yeah, she doesn't have enough of a healthy sense of, what's actually the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she kind of had it coming probably. But anyway.
Well, I mean, she's a terrible person, so she can't figure out don't jump on a mobster. That's maybe
especially hired goons.
Hired goons.
Hired goons. Yeah.
Hey, look, Homer, do I tell you how to do your job?
Yeah. See, Nick, that's how you do a Simpsons reference. Just
there you go. That's how it works.
That's how it's done, my friend. All right. So Adam lies low in this like seedy, low rent motel.
And we're still in the first reality with this, too.
Yeah, this is all in the first reality. Yeah. So we find it. Yeah, Adam finds out that basically he's broke, and he calls his assistant, and she tells him that.
Who's secretly in love with him.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, like, you could come over and stay at my place.
You could stay at my place.
And and Adam is like, that's really not a good idea.
Well, and what I think is interesting about Adam staying at that really seedy motel.
Right.
He's been there before.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, because he knows the guy. He calls it the guy Cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His wife cheating with Billy Ray Cyrus is not the first infidelity that has happened in this marriage. Thank you very much.
No, I'm sure. He's like he knows this place pretty well. It seems like.
Yeah.
So he must have felt safe to go there. So
yeah, he's been there before. He feels at home. He knows he can lay low.
Yeah. So Adam's assistant Cynthia tells him, "Okay, this guy named the Cowboy wants you to meet with him at a corral at the top of Beechwood Canyon."
Mm-hmm.
So Adam is just like, okay, the Cowboy, what's up with this? A corral. And she tells me, yeah, you just be there. I'll make sure the meeting happens. If you want. So he goes there, meets with a cowboy.
And the cowboy is a very like Mrs. Tremond kind of a character.
Right.
Very
enigmatic,
very cryptic, and very, here's what you need to do. And once he talks to the cowboy, he does what he's supposed to do, and then everything's kind of okay with him. He casts the right girl in the story.
Yeah.
And
he kind of threatens him and says, "Look, like if you do what you're told, and you'll only see me once. But if you don't do what you're told, you'll see me twice, 2
more times.
Oh, that's right, 2 more times. Yes.
Yeah.
So, which obviously a very veiled threat.
You were going to be visited by 3 ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gets a little Dickensian there a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a bit. So basically, we find out that later in the film, when Betty shows up, that's when he tells he does what he's told. He's like, I guess I want my stuff and my money back. So okay. And
this is the girl.
And so he gives Camilla the part, and that's that's basically what we find out apart. We don't see any more from Adam until
the thing about Adam
we get
is
everything revealed with like we talked about.
His story is the same.
Yeah.
In both realities, the only thing that's different is the Camilla.
Yes. So apparently he's consistent.
So that's, again, why I'm like, okay, which one's real?
Yeah.
And is any of it even real? Is all of it still just Dan's dream?
Well, and the second reality kind of fills in some gaps of information about the first reality.
Yeah.
As far as Adam's concerned.
Right.
And Camilla. So there's that. We need to talk about the bum behind Winkies.
We got to talk about the bum behind Winkies. Yes.
Okay, so,
the bum behind Winkies is terrifying, if you ask me.
Yeah.
As you know, we start out with Dan talking to her, saying,
this big, like, right at,
it's a real
jump scare.
Jump scare. Yeah. And, so Dan is in Winkies and he's talking to her and he says, I had a dream and you were in it and we were in this booth, we were in this diner and this happens. And then we go up and he's like, well, show me what happens in the dream. So you see them walking to behind a dumpster and then this filthy looking bum comes out, this monster kind of looking character.
It's pretty subhuman character.
Subhuman looking character. Yeah. And it freaks out Dan so bad that he has a heart attack.
Right.
And then when everything is done at the end of this movie, when we think Camilla's maybe dead and Diane has shot herself, we see it's nighttime this time.
Yes.
But we go back around to the same dumpster at Winkies and we see a very similar looking character.
Yeah.
So
and at this point, that creature, for lack of a better word, because it doesn't really look human, is fondling a blue box.
That's for the blue box.
So essentially, like, if you're wondering what happened to the box, apparently the bum gets it. And
so is it the bum's dream?
Or maybe this is a third reality where Betty disappeared and became.
Yeah, because I think
maybe Betty becomes the bum.
I don't know. That's the thing about this. Is the key?
Yeah.
And not literally, but is the key to this whole story the box?
Yeah.
Is it Dan? Is it Betty? Is it the bum? What, you don't know. There's so many different elements. And you see
like some of these may be like red herrings, but
possibly. The first time I saw this movie and I saw that bum handling that box, I just thought to myself, I have such sights to show you. Because what the hell is going on with this box?
Yeah.
And that's a rule.
Yeah. Apparently the bum is a Cenobite, but
the bum I think is a Cenobite. I think the bum is a prototype for a woodsman from The Return, from the Twin Peaks: The Return.
I think
just
just the dirtiness of the look,
the filthy face, and all of it is like that. So That's
a great observation because I can totally see Lynch being inspired or just saying that's the kind of character I want. Yeah.
Right. But just let this be a lesson to you kids. If we learn anything from the movies, mysterious boxes, don't touch them. Yeah. Just don't touch them.
Well, there's two things we learn: don't go behind a restaurant in the alleyway behind the restaurant.
You know what's behind the dumpster behind a diner? Yeah. The grease trap. Yeah. Okay, it stinks back there. You don't want to go.
Well, especially because like I grew up in a restaurant. Okay, a family restaurant. But especially if you're having a dream that there's something horrible back there.
There's gonna be.
So if you go,
it's going to be the grease dumpster. It's going to be raccoons. It's something bad. Just don't go.
Exactly. So, like if you have a dream about it and you're afraid about it, don't go looking for it. Just leave it alone. Move on with your life.
If there's a mysterious box that's not yours, don't touch it. Exactly. It's either going to change your reality for the worse, or it's a Cenobite.
Right.
Okay. And nobody wants that.
Yeah. No, it's not a good look. No. So, you either end up as Diane Selwyn or you're bum behind the dumpster or something.
Or you're Doug Bradley.
Or you're Doug Bradley, exactly. With puzzle boxes. Yeah, exactly.
So, stay the hell away.
Yeah.
But
and you got pins in your head. Go figure. Yeah.
Or you're Catherine Martell. And your brother is Dan O'Hurley.
Yes.
And you're trying to figure out if it's your birthday or Eckhart's birthday or whatever. And you know what it is? It's a key to a bomb. All right? Stay away from mystery boxes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you nothing but trouble. So.
Nope.
Important safety tip. Thanks, Dan.
All right. That's bad.
We should talk probably maybe, if you want, we'll talk a little bit about Joe the Hitman. Because Joe the Hitman has a very funny sequence in the first reality.
Yeah, where he shoots who you think is going to be his partner.
Yeah.
And then accidentally shoots the woman in the next office.
Yeah, because he's like talking with this guy, and then he's supposed to we find out that he was looking for this black address book.
Mm-hmm.
So he shoots that guy, but because of his incompetence, he has to he shoots through the wall into in the office next door or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and hits this very heavy set lady.
It's one of those rent an office type office buildings. You would expect Sam Spade to have an office in this building, and she just is
she's like something bit me.
Something bit me bad.
Yeah, that one.
And he could have just left it at that, but he winds up shooting her, winds up shooting the janitor, and then winds up shooting the vacuum cleaner.
Right. Because it keeps making noise. So and then and as he shoots the vacuum cleaner, that sets off the fire alarm.
Oh my God!
So it's like something. Essentially, it's like right out of the Naked Gun at this point.
It's so bad. Yeah, he's very much the Lebowski henchman in this. You just can't do anything right, and so that's part of me wonders.
Yeah.
Did he kill Camilla? Because he's not good at this.
He's not good at his job.
So I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's maybe in the second reality, he's better at his job than he was in the first reality.
Maybe. I don't know. And again.
Yeah.
He's in reality, and then he's. I guess Diane has to know him some way.
Right.
To hook up with him, to hire him to kill Camilla.
Yeah.
But it's I wonder, that just seems like an interesting side note for a dream for her to be dreaming about Joe.
Right.
So, that's just...
Yeah.
It's all just very, very strange.
It is. And
yet we have another set of cops who are never going to solve a crime.
Right.
Because
we have no idea what happened to McKnight and his partner.
Mm-hmm.
That
Truman and Mackley. It's okay. You just call him Truman.
We'll just call him Truman. Frank and Mackley. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no resolution to that storyline at all.
Mm-mm.
And it's even if they were looking, well, presumably they've zeroed in on the real Diane.
Right.
But she kills herself, and so they don't really.
So that's going to go there.
Yeah, exactly. So now they have another corpse on their hands, and more mystery, I guess. So, so I know it's confusing to hear this breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
I was confused, as we went through it, but I hope we at least addressed things we needed to address. And I knew this was going to be difficult, but hopefully we helped a little. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think we certainly gave people something to think about when they're watching this.
Yeah. Maybe we did, but hopefully
we had some theories. We had some trivia. I think we did okay.
Okay, all right. So there was a deleted scene, but I think we can save that for when we talk about the special features.
I would agree. That's a special feature.
All right. So, do you have a rating for this movie?
Yeah, I do. I love this movie.
Yes.
I think it's great, and I'm going to give this 9 out of 10 Hollywood sign fonts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we do get to see that, yes.
If you notice, the credits of this movie are done in the Hollywood sign font.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that was good.
Yeah, this is, I was talking about this with Chris when I was watching it, and I think it might be my third favorite David Lynch movie after Blue Velvet and Inland Empire.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might put this second.
Okay.
After Blue Velvet.
Yeah, Blue Velvet's number one, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at least on sync.
Wild at Heart is probably next. Wild at Heart loses a few points because I have to watch Hillbillies.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that either.
I love Wild at Heart, but they are some shit kickers, those characters.
Yeah. But yeah, it might be 2 for me. We'll see.
Okay.
I also give this 9 out of 10. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 jump scare bums behind Winkies.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, though. The bum was supposed to be male, but it was played by a female actress.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the bum, I feel like the bum is sort of gender fluid.
Well, see, that's why I kind of wondered if the bum is actually what happens to Diane.
Who knows? Is the
we
bum?
Don't know.
Or is the you don't know.
We don't
just
know.
know. Yeah.
We'll see. But anyway, now normally I would mention that, hey, we actually have some mail.
Hey, rock on.
Yeah, we got 2 letters, believe it or not.
Awesome.
But the question is, we're kind of running really long here, so should we save those for next time?
Yeah, let's save those for next time because I don't want people who wrote letters to feel like we're rushing through their letters.
Right. So I want to give apologies to Matthew Curtis, who was kind enough to write in.
Mm-hmm.
We got your email, got the Gmail.
The Gmail.
And also a certain DJ Nick, who wrote in with a review of his review of Mulholland Drive.
DJ Nick, that sounds familiar.
I know, right?
We definitely want to give DJ Nick some time.
We might have heard something about it. So,
yep.
So we don't have to rush through those. Yeah, why don't we just save those because we're going to talk more Mulholland Drive next time.
And since we're doing letters next week, write us one.
Exactly. So since we'll have some more time, if you want to be like Matthew Curtis and DJ Nick, please do write to us at ghostwoodpodcast@gmail.com, ghostwoodpodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on Twitter at Ghostwoodcast on Twitter, or on Facebook, Ghostwood the Twin Peaks Podcast. And Xan, where can they reach you?
Facebook as Xan Sprouse, or the Twitters and the Instas as Udinax19.
Right.
And give you more movie trivia, especially about classic Hollywood right now.
Right.
You can hear me with DJ Nick and Rachel Friend on the Gold Standard podcast, where we talk about
great
Oscar-winning movies.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that podcast. I listen loyally and really enjoy it. You guys are awesome on that. And, Xan is obviously this big fountain of knowledge and has the perfect forum to deliver said knowledge to everybody. So,
well, I think Rachel and I both like doing the research and getting the little nuggets of trivia and learning about classic Hollywood because, it's not something
you're more familiar with it than she is, I think.
I am a big fan of classic Hollywood. I am a big fan of silent films, and Rachel is sort of coming into that. She's learning, and I think she's becoming a fan.
She's almost like your protege a little bit.
I grew up in a house of classic Hollywood. My parents are old movie buffs and stuff like that. So a lot of these actors I know and have seen, and so just sort of learning about what's going on in the studio system at the time and things like there's been some fun factoids. Yeah. And
so obviously if you enjoy Xan here, you need to be checking out Gold Standard. So just saying.
Or if you enjoy talking about movies, but David Lynch is a little beyond you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for one thing, if David Lynch isn't in your wheelhouse, why are you listening to this podcast? I'm just kind of
That's
wondering.
The thing. My mom does not listen to this podcast. Because she's like, I cannot get a frame of reference. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So, but she does like Gold Standard for that reason because she can get a grip on things. What about you, Charles? Where are you?
Well, I think your mom and my wife, Lori, are pretty much in the same boat.
I think my mom and your wife should get together and go bowling.
Pretty much, because it was pretty interesting while I was doing this Mulholland Drive rewatch, and Lori watched it along with me. She did other things. She looked up, and I would catch her looking at things, every so often on the as I was going through the movie. But when the movie was over, she didn't say a single word about it. Like nothing. And I said, should I even bother asking you what you thought of this movie? And she said nothing. So I left it right there. Didn't even follow up on that. I was like, okay.
My guess is her thought is, I am so glad that Xan is there to go to these midnight movies with him because this would be torture.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah. So
at least he has Xan and Mike to do this stuff.
Exactly. But as for me, of course, at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Instagram, Facebook, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio on Facebook, and my blog of geeky things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot. Where I talk about all the stuff we talk about here, and also like news of my other podcasts they do for Southgate Media, including Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, where Zane was on recently talking Survival from the Sylvester McCoy era. And then the Phantom Zone podcast they do with Jesse Jackson, where right now we're talking Stargirl, that's on DC Universe and the CW. And that just got picked up for season 2. So,
did it really? That's great.
Yeah, so it's a fun little show, and so it looks like we'll probably be talking more Stargirl eventually if they ever like restart Hollywood production again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Titan Talk, the Titans podcast.
Right.
I'm currently hosting with DJ Nick. Maybe you've heard of him.
Maybe you've heard of him.
As we're talking Doom Patrol Season 2, which has been a blast because his enthusiasm really comes through, as you probably know. So.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, we have a ball talking that. So, if you enjoy that, please check out my other podcast. We definitely appreciate it. In the meantime, next time on Ghostwood, episode 80. Can you believe we've done we're up to 80 of these?
Letters and special features, y'all.
Exactly. So, essentially, this is going to be the Mulholland Criterion episode.
Yep.
As we go through the special features on the Criterion release and the booklet, I'm sure we'll talk about. And,
we're going to talk about the booklet.
And whatever random thoughts we forgot to talk about in this episode here. So,
and we will have random thoughts.
Exactly. And I'll hopefully, like Xan mentioned, that hopefully some other people write in about maybe their theories on Mulholland Drive.
For sure.
So please do. Please write to us.
Please explain it to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, give us your theories because David Lynch isn't going to tell us. So.
Yeah, we have no idea. You just listen to our podcast. You know we have no idea what's going on. So explain it to us, please. We would definitely appreciate it. All right. So thank you guys for listening. Xan, thank you as always because you're fabulous to talk to.
Thank you, Charles. You're awesome to talk to as well.
And I really have fun, and I love doing stuff like this with you. Everybody, thank you again, and come on back next time, Mulholland Criterion, as we talk the special features right here on Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast. Goodbye, everybody.